What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How's everybody doing? Shop Podcast episode 208, everybody. We're hanging out another Saturday, another show, a ton of great content. We have a great guest in the house. Once again, take your seats kindly. We appreciate everybody showing love in the chat. I believe the super chat is live. I went ahead and made sure all of that was good to go this week, last week. I didn't do it last week, so this week I made sure I did it. But appreciate you guys' support, hanging out. Once again, retweet the link, everybody. Show some love, show some support. If you're not in the chat, man, anybody who's watching live, we appreciate you there too. So, but let's all go ahead and get to our special guest, man. We have another Lord from the realm joining us in the house. You know, we mess with those guys over there, heavy, man. They show us love. Everybody from Cobb, David, everybody. All the way down the chain, man. We appreciate what you guys do. But we got Lord Addict hanging out with us in the house, man. Show some love, everybody in the chat, to Lord Addict. Lord Addict, how you doing today, brother?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for the invite, man. It's the hard part is I usually work these afternoons, so it's really hard to like schedule anything that's not on a Sunday or Monday or Tuesday because those are the days I have off.
Got it. Well, I appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you making time today. The little bit of time
because I'm technically at work right now.
Oh, shoot. Oh, man. All right, bro. So we're gonna go ahead and run through this, man. But I appreciate you, man. I greatly appreciate you, brother. So thank you for that, man. But let's go ahead and keep things moving, man. Stag in the house this week, man. Last week you sat out. You know, hope you feeling a little bit better.
I'm back.
But yeah, man. What's going on with you, brother?
I not much, dude. Just glad to be back. Sorry I wasn't here last week. Had my second 5G update, but I'm here to do the show and might be stuffing my mouth a little bit while we're here. My wife just went and picked up a bunch of sushi, so
nice.
Let's get after it.
Let's get after it, man. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. Appreciate you, brother. Always hanging out every single week, man. How you been doing?
What is up, my fam? It is Saturday night. It is time to talk gaming. Bend that knee, show some respect. We got the amazing Lord Act here, but we also got the legendary Stagger. Like, oh my God, dude, can I get your autograph? I haven't seen you in like forever.
All right, let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong, man. How you doing, man? Straight fresh off the morning show. Shout out to Still Rain, Living Split Screen. How you doing today, Pong?
Busy, but I am here because it is Saturday night and we have another one of the Lords here with us. This is amazing. I've only got one last Lord to do a show with, and that is King, and hopefully that'll happen sometime soon. Man, I've had the pleasure of working with everybody, and finally I get to work with Attic. Lord Attic is in the house. It's great to have you here, sir. But otherwise, man, just been busy. Haven't been gaming as much as I normally would just because work's getting crazy, but man, I'm back. I jumped back into Night City, got back into good old Cyberpunk, so I'm back to my old addiction again. So that's where I've been spending my time. Yeah, but we got some great topics, and it's Saturday night. Chat's already lit, and I'm ready to talk, so let's get down to it.
Let's dive into it. Last but not least, man, Mr. Fuzzy, how you doing today, brother?
Not too bad. Also busy week at work this past week, but you know, this is what I look forward to. So let's get after it. Glad to have you on here, Attic.
All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and dive into the topics, man. We appreciate everybody in the chat. Once again, retweet the link. Shout out to everybody on Twitter, man. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. We are live right now, so let's dive into it. So we actually had a poll of the week this week, so shout out to everybody who participated in the poll of the week, man. Once again, I do it every single Monday, so look out for that. Follow me on Twitter. It's always there every Monday. Appreciate you guys. So poll of the week this week was, with Xbox dropping a huge list of FPS boosted games today, and that was obviously when I dropped the poll, what's the biggest reason you buy older games? And this is actually, I stole this question from you, Fuzz, because I actually, I couldn't come up with anything that was really good, so shout out to you, Fuzz. I actually stole that from you. You threw me that one, so I appreciate the assist, the alley-oop, as they say, on that one. But we'll start with you, Attic. We had a few options, bro. We had graphics, FPS boost actually won 62% of the poll. Price cut second, 28%. New content, DLC 5%, and then review, word of mouth, 5% as well. So what's the biggest reason you buy older games, Attic, generally?
Generally, it's DLC, and to be honest with you, I I don't really pick up older. Like, I don't really go back to games. Like, usually once I dropped you, it's pretty much equivalent of like deleting you off Facebook. Like, I just don't, you don't exist to me anymore. So it takes something like fire to get me back. Like an expansion like on a Skyrim or a Fallout or something like that. And a lot of the times I won't even do it for that. So, but usually if it's anything like the boost thing, if I already beat the game, I ain't going back to it. I don't care if you boosted to 30, 60, 120, 500. Like it's not going to really, because I already played the content. So, you know, I think the last time I did that was when the Outer Worlds came out. I did go back and play that because it was 60, but a lot of it had to do with the expansion was right around the corner too. So
yeah, you want to dive back into it. Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. So nothing wrong with that. You know, I'm not a guy who goes back very often as well. There are some games I do pick up, like some older. I've even grabbed a couple 360 games only because I really, really, really enjoy them. Now, not all of the games that I'm talking about have been FPS boosted, but I think it's just a great thing in general. But let's go ahead and just throw this over to you, Stag. You buy a lot of games. Like, you buy everything. Not everything. I don't want to sound like you just buy anything, but you play and try a lot of games. So what for you older games, what would generally be the biggest reason that you go back and purchase an older game?
I don't remember what I said in the poll. Let me check your retweets. Hold on a sec here. All right, I'm actually, finishing off a bite. So I didn't vote, and the only reason I didn't vote was because my option wasn't there.
Okay.
For me, like, going back and playing games that I might have missed, or I didn't even play in the previous gens because I wasn't into that style of game. Like, I mean, heavily on 360. I mean, I played a lot of stuff because I'm a gamer score hunter. Well, kind of retired now, but I mean, even 360, I played a lot of stuff, but I shied heavily away from like RPGs, really long, story-driven, complex games. I played a lot of FPS. I played a lot of Halo, a lot of Gears of War.
Call of Duty.
Love Guitar. I put so much time into Guitar Hero. Like, I should have probably tried to play real guitar. Let's just put it that way. That's how much Guitar Hero I played. But for me, it's going back and playing games I didn't play, and I love that I can play. That the catalog of like backwards compatibility is getting bigger. And I don't have to, like, I have my 360 set up still, but I honestly don't even remember the last time I fired it up. I do have, another thing I like to do is I will peruse, big word. I will, and I'll look on eBay, I'll look on GameStop, and like when the 360 collection physical games are at a decent price, even if I've already played the game, I don't have the game, or I've never played it, I'll pick it up just to have it in my collection. Because, I mean, I know once, like GameStop specifically stops carrying 360 games, those prices are going to go up.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm never going to have a complete collection, but I do like having a collection. Again, that's another reason why I buy so many physical games as it is like, apparently I like clutter, but, yeah, I really like these FPS boosted games and the backorder games, or the backwards compatibility games, and like just giving the old games new life for the possibility of I've never played that,
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at on it, because I've never played it.
Got it. Okay. Well, no, that's a great option. I wasn't on the list, but that's a great option as well, man. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. Get your quick opinion on the poll. Which one do you generally, what's your biggest reason going back buying older games?
See, you had to throw that word buy. Like the FPS boosted games that have, shown up. I haven't like ran out and be like, I need to buy that game and play it in 60 frames a second. Or 120. I wish I could play in 120. I'm working on getting a TV that can do that. Anyways, I have to say I'm right there with Addict on the DLC thing. That would make me go check out an older game, or even with, I didn't really vote either. I'll be truthful on that, because it's more of like a nostalgic thing for me. Dude, I'm gonna be upfront. I've already got my pre-order locked in for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I've played that game more than once on the 360 discs, and now I'm looking forward to playing it, obviously, as a complete package. And there's even a little bit of DLC I never played So I'm looking forward to that. That's pretty much my reasons on wanting to buy older games. I mean, excuse me, good game series that I wanted to get recently that I actually bought because I kind of missed out on them was the Lost Planet trilogy.
Oh, Lost
and
Planet is
also
excellent.
the Dead Space trilogy.
Yeah, those are both excellent.
And that's where I bought those games because I played the first ones. I made it halfway through the second games, and for whatever reason, everything, because you always get sucked into something else playing games.
It's not whatever reason. It's ESO, bro. Be honest.
Well, ESO didn't exist on the 360, so it would have been more like Skyrim or Oblivion.
Yeah, Dead Space is
you know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, Dead Space is amazing.
Dead Space, dude. I was there day one for Dead Space. That's where, I mean, give me a remaster of the Dead Space games.
I always felt like, because I don't think EA is going to do anything with that game, because I feel like they're done with that type of style game. I always felt like Ninja Theory would make a really good reboot for a Dead Space game.
That'd be awesome. That's where I just really feel like, I feel like maybe, how like, I hate to be this way, but how patents run out? I feel like with IPs, if you kind of sit on them long enough, you like somebody should be allowed to resurrect an IP that shouldn't just go stagnant, because Dead Space, oh my gosh, man. I really wish there was a game like that. They're making that
Calypso game, Calypso Protocol, right? Isn't that the maker?
No, the studio got dismantled. It don't.
Yeah, it was EA. It was Visceral Games.
No, I know that, but isn't the team making a new game?
There's a spiritual.
Yeah, but ain't nobody care about the old game, the new games. We want Dead Space. We want Isaac. We want him going crazy.
No,
in his mind.
I feel you, but
that's why I feel like Ninja Theory, because they're the only company that I've seen besides them they handle like Psychosis shit really well. So
yeah,
dude, could you imagine doing a Dead Space now on that level, but now throwing Psychosis into it, like the heavy
pretty much
like,
what was going. That's I mean, I don't know if like, I mean, I do. Originally, how Dead Space 3 was supposed to end was the second character was supposed to be a figment of his imagination, and he went crazy the whole game. And that's originally, I mean, they were doing what Ninja Theory was doing before Ninja Theory was doing what Ninja Theory was doing.
That's where I want. I still need to play the third game still. Now I'm like, damn, now I need to really check this out. But I mean, like, I remember just playing those games, walking through those hallways, and now if you had like those hallways with how Ninja Theory, like, basically makes noises or sounds to make you almost feel claustrophobic in a way, I think it'd make that game even more eerie than it already was.
Well, we still don't even know exactly what Project Mara is either.
Project Mara, from what I could see, is they have taken and created an apartment. The entire game takes place in one apartment. This apartment exists in real life. They are using LiDAR technology, which is normally used on aerial scans, and they have LiDAR this entire apartment. If you go and look at some of the photos of this generated apartment look more realistic than the apartment that they took photos of to create it.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's insane. It's insane. So we'll see what happens there. But let's keep this thing moving. Go ahead, Pong. It's on you, brother.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know me. I will play any game, anytime, anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's new or old. If it's something that I just get a feeling that I want to go back to and play, I'll play it. Out of your poll, I took the FPS boost because I think that is the biggest thing that's happened to backwards compatible games recently that we can probably even remember at this point, besides auto HDR. But the boost, the boost has been an eye opener again, coming into these new consoles and finally getting a chance, because I'm not a PC player. So I never experienced 60 frames. I mean, back in the day, some games ran at 60 frames, but let's be real. None of us ever knew that was 60 frames. Like, we didn't care back then. I mean, that wasn't a thing, right? But
I think COD ran at 60.
Right. Yeah.
Call of Duty's been running at 60.
Yeah, it has been. But you really didn't notice because you're just playing 30 frames all the time on every other game. So now to experience 60 frames and to see the difference, to be able to go back to these old games all over again and experience them. And again, I'm not the guy who, I've been raising families, man. I've been married, so I haven't played every single game out there, right? I'm just not that guy. So I've got this whole library.
To ignore your kids more like I do.
Right. Well, I know they're all grown up and we're empty nesters now, so I get to game more. But I'm just saying, when a lot.
Holy crap, you're old.
Yeah, I know. Don't remind me, Stag.
Sorry, man.
No,
you
but
look that old though. I mean, like, to be honest with you, and I'm gonna slap you and then compliment you.
All right, well, thank you, Stag. I appreciate it. But no, so I've got a lot of games that either maybe I tried but never really played all the way through, or whatever the case may be, or I just never got to. So to go back to them now, they're new games for me, and I don't care. Like I said, it doesn't bother me. I've been playing games for so long. I've seen all the graphics. Yeah, I love the latest and greatest. I love all the ray tracing and everything else, but I can still go back to 360 game and enjoy it. And now that they're enhanced, even better for me. So that's the one I chose out of that list, because that's probably, like I said, the latest and greatest right now for them. It does take a game that's older and make it fresh again. The auto HDR has done amazing things for some 360 games. You guys were talking about Dead Space. It's absolutely gorgeous with the auto HDR. So that's why I like to go back. So,
what about Red Dead Redemption?
Yep. Red Dead Redemption, the first one I beat all the way through. That's one of my top favorite games of all time.
I've never really understood like the let's hate on older games, because if you look at like the top 10 games that's played almost at all times, like at least 6 or 7 of them are old games. Like,
exactly.
Easily.
It's just stupid. It's just
it's not
people
easy.
come up with the craziest stuff. Man.
Yeah, it gets crazy. But so another thing that we didn't mention, I want to throw it in here as far as that goes, is the amount of games, how quickly they are doing this. They went from maybe a few games to 50 at a time. Like, this is one batch right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm assuming more batches, depending on how games work and clearance and things like that. But this is something that they're going to continue going forward, and we can see this on a ton of different titles as we go forward. So it's a big deal for a lot of people that play a lot of games. So let's throw this over to you, Fuzz, before we go ahead and move on to the next topic, bro. So which one did you choose, man?
It was really tough. Like, for me, any graphical improvements or frame boost improvements or something that will definitely catch my attention to make me either replay or consider purchasing a game that I may have skipped over in the past. But me being the conscious or not conscious, but the penny-wise gamer, I price cuts are always going to be the big thing. They'll be like, all right, it's under $20. You can't go wrong with it at that point. But it's usually just for the games that I may have either overlooked or missed or just passed on, just because there was another game at that particular time when it came out. And considering my backlog of games from this past generation, when they did that whole frame boost thing, it was like, 40 games upgraded for free. It was awesome. But with all the things that they're doing now with that frame boost, it's just a big get as far as returning to like one of my favorites, Mad Max, which when they did the auto HDR, that was like, a big improvement on the fact that I wish that was one of the games that got X1X enhanced, but the auto HDR kind of, helped with that, because the colors and the different biomes and things like that is definitely a sight to see in Mad Max. And now with it being a 60 frame setup for an open world game, that's just totally awesome. But price cut always going to rule out, but you can't deny that the frame boost thing isn't a big factor or a big influence as far as returning to some of these games as well, just to at least see them, even if it's only to play it for another half hour or so. That upgrade is definitely worth checking out.
And the biggest thing that I don't see a lot of people talking about is like the state that these games have went, and the progression and the road that these franchises have went down. Yeah. Like, for instance, people are gonna play like these newer Assassin's Creeds that's never played like the original ones. It's like, now on the Xbox you have access to those that are better fidelity, and like the Far Cries. You can play them all in 60 frames. People play the next Far Cry. Oh, I wonder what the last Far Cry was. And when you go play those games, you have them at a way better performance. It goes a long way.
Oh yeah, it's a better first impression. I believe what you're saying for the most part. So it absolutely for people that are, especially new people in the ecosystem of Xbox that are just jumping in now, especially with these new consoles out. That's a big deal. That's essentially your best foot forward.
So just to throw in there real quick, we're going to be able to tell stories in the future to younger gamers or connoisseur of games, because I don't even know if anybody likes to be called a gamer nowadays, to be truthful. Anyways, we're going to be able to talk and tell people about how when we played Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3 about the bugs that were in these games, because when people go back to play them now, they're going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. The game is like plays great, because I've actually gone back and checked out some of these games that have received the boost, especially the Fallout games, and it's like a whole nother game.
Yeah, it's like playing Mass Effect Andromeda. Everybody bitched about that, and I just recently finished it. I'm like,
another good game.
Fine for me.
Yeah. So
I really enjoyed it.
A lot of games are going to benefit from this. Is exactly what we're saying. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. But appreciate everybody in here rocking out with us live right now. Once again, everybody, appreciate the support. Let me shout out a couple people in the chat. Buggy, shout out to you, Shown 2 Mile of the Year, man. I see you hanging out in there. Pong, I saw Zinc earlier. Mike, appreciate you. Ashtray, everybody hanging out down in the chat. Matt, thank you guys so much for coming out, hanging out. Once again, retweet that link. Let everybody know we're live here right now on the Shop Podcast, man. So let's go ahead and keep things moving. So I know we talked with the poll of the week was about essentially the FPS boot, but I want to kind of dive into that a little bit more here before we move on. So we're gonna go ahead and start with our guest here, Addict, but I just want to just get your general impression on just more so like this FPS boost and essentially what this is going to do going forward, and what this is going to allow for flexibility for Xbox.
One thing that it's going to do is, like I mentioned earlier, any time you do a sequel, you have a leg to stand on in terms of marketing. Oh, you want to play all the Far Cries, all the Assassin's Creeds. There was all the Dishonored. There was a bunch of them on there. Pretty much any EA game at this point. Like, if you want to play the next Battlefield and you don't like it, you can always go back to the other ones, and you have PC performance rates when it comes to that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Not to mention, it looks really good in terms of what your competition's doing. Because, to my knowledge, Overwatch got an update on Xbox and it didn't on PlayStation. And it looks like that gap is getting more and more, and sooner or later you're going to have first-person shooter people, which that's where probably the core of Xbox is anyway, start coming back to the Xbox platform because they're getting a way better performance on these games that they love.
That makes sense. A lot of, once again, I believe COD is still with PlayStation as well as far as marketing, correct?
Yeah, it's still with them. I'm referring to more of like the core audience on there, not necessarily the pro players or anything like that. I'm just talking about the core audience.
Got it. No, that makes sense.
Because as of right now, Xbox is the only platform you could play all of the Call of Duties on, because of the 360 backwards compatible games. So
no, that makes sense. That made a ton of flexibility. So this is another great thing right along with Game Pass. It fits, just being able to give these really cool options that are pro consumer is super dope. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Paul. Just want to get your general opinion on what this means for Xbox going forward with these boosts and these batches of games being updated.
Well, what you're doing is you're creating more value in your whole ecosystem, right? So when anytime somebody wants to come into and join up with Xbox, now they're looking at what everything is offered, right? That's how you shop services all the time. So Xbox is trying to make themselves the best place to play games, period. And end of story. And what this does is shows potential customers that they're serious about what they're talking about. And when it comes to backwards compatibility, not only are they saying, hey, you get to bring most of your games with you from generation to generation, but we're also going to go ahead and make them better, which you didn't even know that you needed or that you wanted, but we're just going to do it for you. And it's funny because it's just forward thinking like that shows people that, Xbox is looking, down the road. And they, again, the history of Microsoft and Xbox, Microsoft as a corporation is one of distrust, right? They created a lot of bad press for themselves. I mean, again, to the point where the government sued them. So, people still have stigmas against them. So they've got to fight that. What do? You go ahead and you create goodwill by giving people something they didn't even need, or something that they didn't even know that they needed, and saying, here you go. And then so when people from the outside are looking at it, they're like, well, hey, now look at this. This is pretty cool. This is something they did. Not everybody's going to hear about it, but at the end of the day, when you're looking at stuff, you may actually come across it and say, wow, I didn't know that Xbox did that. And for your current customers, you're creating that trust, because we're moving towards a digital age, right? And so all of this stuff builds to the fact that Xbox takes it extremely serious, that they want to make sure that your digital library, not just your physical, but your digital library, as you again, continue through the ecosystem, whether it's this generation, next generation, whatever, that will continue to live on. And, you give the people that are already there that sense of trust to know that, hey, we're going to take care of you. We're going to take care of your content. We're not going to leave you behind. We're not going to leave your content behind. That money you spent is important, and we know that. And this is what we're doing for you. So again, it just goes along with what Xbox has been preaching pretty much since the day that Phil took over, right? It is a 180 from the 2013 when they had bad messaging. What they've been doing recently is all good messaging, and these boosts and this kind of stuff is just a part of that messaging, saying, hey, no, we've heard you guys. Gamers are important. Games to Xbox and Microsoft are important. The gaming industry is important. We're going to be caretakers of the history of gaming, because Phil appreciates everything about that and where it came from. And we're going to preserve it as best we can. And this is just a part of that. So again, kudos to them all the time thinking about this stuff. This is what we've seen for quite a while now, and it just continues to impress. And you can see it. More people are talking about it than ever. Whether people want to downplay it or not, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, there's more positive, talk, and people, word of mouth being spread, and that mind share, really showing that Xbox is here to stay, and they're going to give you the best experience on Xbox and Game Pass, and that means all of your content that you buy.
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate it. So I don't know what happened to Addict. Looks like Addict maybe dropped out, but hopefully he pops back in here. We're gonna go ahead and keep things moving. Everybody in the chat, appreciate you guys live, man. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. So let's just keep things going. Appreciate you, Pong. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, since you're around. Just get your quick opinion. Just on FPS boost, and what kind of flexibility that gives Xbox.
Man, my opinion on the FPS boost. All right, so when Microsoft pulled back and said that they were pulling the team's attention for backwards compatibility, and they were going to have them focus on making sure that the current library that already existed was fully compatible on the new Series X and S consoles. And at least the way I feel is one of these engineers, developers, whatever you want to call them, probably found out that due to the Microsoft's investment in backwards compatibility, the investment that they did in designing a really nice machine in both the Series S and the Series X, finding out that the hardware was able to create this boost without having to do very much is great. I mean, us gamers have totally benefited from this. I say the only real limitation that we're going to see when it comes to games that are going to receive this boost are what games they're allowed to do this to, because we all see they could have done this probably with Mass Effect, but because of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, that's never going to probably occur. And that's the developer or the publisher, whoever owns the rights, has say so over this boost. This is just purely because Microsoft has invested a lot of time and effort into both backwards compatibility and the hardware, and we are going to benefit in ways that we couldn't even fathom. And we are just scratching the surface of the series, this Xbox Series consoles. Now that the developers have even more tools at their disposal, I'm really looking forward to what exactly gaming is going to be for me in the next few years. I mean, I never thought that frames per second would change. Frames per second and optimization would just change the way how you felt about a game. And I could see what they're always talking about with PC. I understand there's always been a much more performance experience going on in PC, but I've never had the time to just want to sit at a computer and want to play a game. I just want to lounge on my couch. So to have PC quality graphics and PC optimization almost, it's a blast for me. I don't know what anybody can complain about. Xbox is killing it when it comes to showing what the ecosystem has to offer.
Awesome.
You know you can hook your computer up to your TV, right?
I know. I know you can do that, but like
a lot of games have controller support.
I know. I have it. That's the funny part for me. I do buy games on PC here and there, but the funny part is I'm always looking on the site. Does it have controller support? Oh, it doesn't. Yeah, you're not worth it.
Dude, I'm the same way. Like, for instance, that game Amazon's working on, New World. Like, it's going to be the game that forces me to learn keyboard and mouse because I actually like the game and I've played the beta and the alpha. And like, I suck at keyboard and mouse, but it's going to force me to do it.
Oh, wow.
For some reason, that MMO is just, it got me by the balls.
So speaking of by the balls, it's on you, Stag. So we're gonna throw it over to you, my dude.
Man, I don't have a lot to say. Like, I think it's great. I think it's especially for like the backwards compatibility games. I mean, obviously that's what it's for, but like the games they've already made backwards compatible. I would love to see like what that's done for digital sales for those games because they're harking back to, one of their best eras as a company, between the three different, I mean, I know it's more consoles, but the three generations we've essentially had out of Xbox. 360 was at this point like their quote unquote best, as some people would say. So like adding a boost to those games, like really just hard, it keys in on that, like everyone loves nostalgia. So it keys in on that a little bit, and it gives those older games new life, and gives people a chance to experience them at like the current greatness. And like that's some awesome technology to be able to do that. Because I mean, we know some other companies aren't able to do that right now. So I like it. It's cool. I think it's going to be great going forward. I can't wait till they get this batch done, and then they can start giving us more. Like, man, I know there's a lot of games that they just won't be able to add to the backwards compatibility and stuff like that just because of contracts and how they were worded and worked back in the days and licensing agreements and stuff like that. But it's going to be curious and interesting to see what we get going forward out of this technology and how it it helps these older games and stuff. So like I don't know, and I'm going to ask, does this apply to like OG Xbox games or just like 360 games?
I don't think they came out openly and said if it does it or not, but I would assume like the way I've been described, depending how this boost mode, because that's what we're still talking about, right? Boost.
Yeah.
The way it works is depending on how the game was built. So if they were building games completely different than they're building games now, I don't know if that's like relatively like engine wise or the way that it was coded, then it could work on the original Xboxes, but I have no way, shape, or form any type of engineer side.
So what I read on it, not to be like the guy that likes to read all the weird stuff on the technicalities, but it has to do with the character movement tied into the frame rate. I think if the game was built where the movement is tied into the frame rate, they can't boost it because basically the game is going to look all jacked up and things aren't going to work right. The frame rate has to be, I think, unlocked from the the actual main character of the game or something like that.
It seems like a lot of games are built this way because they've done it to a lot. Like a lot when I saw Dragon Age Inquisition, I was because I started that a couple months ago. And I dropped it because when I was on the horse on Dragon Age, that's like the way you get around quicker. It felt so bad. It's like I was going at like 15 frames a second when I was on that horse. So I dropped it. Yeah. And then like playing it at 60, you could tell a huge difference.
Yeah, it's such a dope option to have. But yeah, no, it's super super cool. Shout out to Jay Ronald and the team over there at Xbox. They're killing it over there. They put in a lot of work, working miracles over there, Wizards, man. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Buzz. Last but not least, about the FPS boost and just your general opinion on the type of flexibility this gives Xbox.
I just like the fact, with me being an open world fan, as far as a lot of games, like I think Senso Elite also mentioned in the chat, like Sleeping Dogs. That's another one where it was kind of like a surprise out of left field.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And we're unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to get a sequel to it or anything like that, because that studio, I think, was disbanded and resources pushed to other ends of it. And
they actually had a second one, and it was called Triad Wars, but it's a horrible game. It's just disrespectful to Sleeping Dogs.
Unless THQ Nordic buys them, then we'll get like a generic 2D AA game of it.
Don't say that, Addict. Don't say that.
You know that THQ Nordic over there staring it down. It feels like they get those middle tier games that people love, and they remake those games.
Yeah. We're still waiting on a new Saints Row, but it's man. Considering a lot of these games I enjoyed, played through. Some of them I didn't finish, like the additional content and stuff like that. Like there was a lot of DLC for Sleeping Dogs that I kind of just played around with when you're in the actual cop uniform, or even with the other investigation thing that you gotta do. But I'm just amazed at like all the Far Cries, pretty much, or all the more recent Far Cries, like Primal, which was one of them that I have, and Far Cry 4 and 5. They got the boost to them just before the kind of like what Attic had touched on earlier. If you're making a newer version or the latest sequel for that game, and you want to also I guess hype that game as well, or for those that play that game and want to see what the previous versions were like, now they're going to be, I would say, at least on par visually, not visually as far as graphics, but as far as smoothness and the frame pacing and everything. So it's not going to be like this awkward transition where you're going from, it's a 60 frames game for the newest one, and then it's like eye juddery, 30 frames on the previous version. But it's an additional bonus to a lot of your existing games that you either already have or ones that you may wind up picking up in like a trilogy or something like that, when they have like a package deal sale where they have some of the older games tied in with the newer ones. But I'm just happy that they're doing this at no additional charge, enhancing these games, some of them that were not really overlooked, but where the studios themselves didn't do, like an X1X or a PS4 Pro enhancement for it. This is like pretty much the next best thing at that point.
I could totally see Sony getting like their best engineers. You gotta go over there and reverse engineer the shit right now. We gotta know how to do this right now.
We'll see. We'll definitely see it happen, man. Stuff like this drives the industry. That's why we love when it happens, man. It doesn't matter what side it comes from, but super innovative shit like this drives the industry. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Shout out to everybody watching live, everybody in chat, hanging out once again. Appreciate you guys, man. Love you guys every single week hanging out with us. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. And we're gonna be talking a little bit about the Division Homeland. Now, we're not gonna be focusing on that so much, but we will talk about that a little bit. The real question here are a lot of these open world games, maybe going to this free-to-play model. Maybe this is the future of these open world-ish games. We see the biggest one, that's arguably the biggest one, Destiny, do it.
It's okay to say it's the biggest one. You don't have to put
No, I'm not giving you that. I know it. Look,
is it the biggest one?
You already did.
Fortnite?
The moment you said it, I took it. So it's okay.
Come on. Oh, Kai got the battery in your back. See, Kai, I know you lurking somewhere because I know he loves that. But but seriously, is the free to play model the future of these open world games? So we'll start with our guest here, Attic. You already done chimed in, so we'll start with you, brother. You think it's gonna become normal?
Well, what it is they want these games to live years upon years at a time. I think Destiny already tried the one big expansion every year, and it wasn't really working out so well. So they're trying that with the seasons on top of it. And I think the only way to like really be open and bring in as many people as possible is that free to play thing. Because if you cost money, you're competing with Fortnite in a really bad way. Because it's like, why do I want to go over here and play this when I could literally go play Fortnite? I could play Warzone.
Apex.
I could play Apex. All of this stuff's for free. Like, why would I go and pay money to play something when literally probably the best shooters out there are all free? That's why
Yeah.
Halo is becoming free. Like, because you got to compete.
Yeah. No, once again, that's a great damn answer. Strong start. So we'll go ahead and throw this over to you again, Pong, to roll along with, man. So what do you think that free to play model, man? It's becoming normal, Pong. So is this gonna be something we see going forward for these open world games?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the roadmap's been laid out by games like, Attic was just talking about, whether it's Fortnite or Warzone or whatever the case may be. It's all laid out for everybody else to follow along. And I love it personally because I'm a guy who can avoid buying the extras. I let everybody else buy the extras. And basically everybody else is paying for my game. So I can enjoy.
And then on top of that, it's making Game Pass look even better. The best stuff's free, and you could get Game Pass.
Absolutely. And that model itself is as Attic was just alluding to as well, is built for the Game Pass model. When you're just throwing games, these games are just perfect for it, right? And I think the developers, as they see a service like Game Pass grow, a platform like Game Pass, explode, they're licking their chops, right? Because you're going to drop this game in, and it works for other places too. With Sony with 100 million consoles sitting out there, it works there too. But when you drop into Game Pass, you get the free marketing that comes along with being a game in Game Pass, right? And you get instantly, however many eyes, whether it's 23, 25 million now, maybe next year we're talking about 50 million at some point. Eyes on your game right out the gates. And just like Ultimate Team and My Team and and all the sports games, they've seen a boom whenever they've dropped into Game Pass, from what we're hearing when it comes to the digital sales from all the extras. And I think that's why we're seeing this free to play type game start to really take hold right in the industry. And again, as somebody who can avoid spending a lot on the extras, not every time, but there's sometimes I'll pay for a little bit, but I enjoy it because it's just a game and I don't have to pay for it and I can have fun with it and it's perfect. So I think this is something that is definitely just we're starting to see the tip of the iceberg right now. I think there's a lot more to come, and I think they're going to get creative with how they structure these free to play games. I am a little concerned where if we do get to the point where every game feels like it has to come out free to play, that the developers might start creeping back into that pay to win kind of scenario, which I would hate to see happen. But hopefully we don't get to that point, and hopefully they just see the benefit themselves from all the microtransactions, that the game continues to make money. They can continue to evolve the game. They don't have to come out with a brand spanking new game every year or every 2 years. They can just add content, which is a lot cheaper than producing a whole game from scratch, along with all the marketing that goes into that. It's all there.
Can somebody
it's all
tell
set up.
Madden that?
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah, I wish.
I think
Jesus Christ.
All the sports games.
We've been through that idea out there.
Right, exactly. That's all they need to do. So maybe down the road we will see that from Madden. It would probably take people to stop buying it, which I don't know if it's going to happen, but you never know. I just think it's a great thing. I think a lot of people win out of this scenario if we move to this. I know a lot of people don't like them, but again, if you can avoid the microtransactions because you think that that's wrong, then you're just winning because you get a game that you can just play, and it doesn't matter, man. It's free, so who cares? That's all.
The crazy thing about this, Paul, this is something we don't even realize. And I don't want to give Fortnite too much credit, but I definitely got to give it its credit, because free to play used to signify low quality. Correct. When you heard free to play, you used to think, "Oh, that game was horrible. It probably doesn't run good. It's probably like the online is probably all the game probably barely works."
Yeah, absolutely.
That doesn't mean low. Fortnite is one of the best running, I don't say best looking, but just for what it is, the game is one of the most polished games, period. You know, so it changed the entire image of the whole free to play as far as low quality, low tier games.
And that's going to come from competition too, PTK. So the more people that enter that space with free to play games, that means the competition's got to raise the bar up to stand out. So that's how that works.
Not to mention that, like, you know, I always like on ILP we have like a joke, like people think I'm on Fortnite's side, but I'm not. I'm like, I'm secretly having like the knife under them if they fall. Like, but like the thing is like this company has seen like Fortnite, I would say, is up there with Call of Duty and how they've changed the industry.
Right.
Because I feel like Halo helped establish a first-person market on a first-person shooter market on the console side, but Call of Duty is what put it through the ringer. It's what made it popular, and I feel like Fortnite in multiple ways they've showed people, look, this battle pass thing, it could be it. Like, you just got to do it right. They showed people you don't have to pay to have a pay to win model. Like, we could do this free to play stuff. We can do it right. And it's like, you know, we don't even need to charge for our game. It's gonna be that lit. And another thing, they held the knives to Sony. Was like, you gonna do this crossplayer? We walking out the table. We taking our ball. We going home. Like, and because they did that, now we have Call of Duty having crossplay. We have potentially Battlefield having crossplay. Like they single-handedly made Sony, of all people, it was like, yeah, let's just do it. Like, their people are attacking us on Twitter every 5 seconds. Like.
No, it's amazing what Fortnite was able to do. It's industry changing. You know, it'll be something that people look back like, yeah, this was a turning moment in the industry. So let's go ahead and throw this over to Stag. Get your quick opinion, brother, on just what we've been talking about here, man. Just, you know, open world games, free to play going forward. You know, you threw Madden out there, man. I feel like Madden desperately needs to do something. But go ahead, Stag.
I mean, as somebody who has played probably every free-to-play game except for Fortnite. I just want to throw that in there. That's in the Xbox free-to-play games. I just started one tonight, actually. It's paused right now, but I just started Terra. I might not have never played. If I would have had to buy this game, I probably wouldn't have played it. But that it's free, I'm checking it out, and I think that's it entices people to check things out. And I also think that it gives devs and the publishers a chance to make money because people like buying stupid shit for their people. Like, I know friends that, like, with, you know, like even Outriders or any game you can customize your character. I have friends that spend like 6 hours customizing their character. It's ridiculous. And now you're going to give people like a free game to do that with, and you can buy like a fancy foo-foo dress or whatever, a top hat and a monocle and extra shit like that. Dude, I think that's
genius.
I mean, it's almost as genius as like the achievement system, where it's just like it's preying on your addictive behaviors in a positively, negatively positive way. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, dude, sure, give me more free games to try out. I might actually like it, and I know, like, Neverwinter was free to play too, wasn't it? Isn't it?
Yes,
I think it is.
Yeah, I spent money on that game. I actually really liked that game. So, but it was like because they had a unicorn, and I'm a sucker. So I spent $50 and I got myself a fucking unicorn that I could ride around in the game. Like, how? Like, I'm not the only one that does it. My buddy, we played Neverwinter together, and he had a freaking spider. He had to pay $50, and it wasn't just for the spider, but it's just, you know. Sure, is like you were saying earlier, like quality and stuff like that. I don't like. I'm looking at Terra right now, and this doesn't look like a bad quality game. You know, Neverwinter wasn't a bad quality game. The other games in there aren't bad quality, so I think, you know, it's a good model. Like the Division, is that something I'm going to be playing? No, not even if it's free to play. Just because I own 1 and 2, and I've never been able to get into them.
They might as well have gave you the Division 2 for free, and it was like, what, $3 ago, like a year ago.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, I think they can make a lot of money, and they do. Like, so Pong, you're an empty nester. Good for you, because I have an 11-year-old who plays Rocket League and Fortnite and Minecraft. So the other day, he came upstairs, hugged me, and said, "I love you, Dad." And I was like, "What do you want?" And he's like, "No, I just want to. Are you streaming?" "No, I'm not streaming. What do you want?" And I'm like, he's like, "Oh, I just, Okay, so I had an idea." And he goes into this complex thought process he had of, "Will you give me $10? I think it was $20 on my Xbox account, and I won't ask for anything for 2 months." And I was like, "I don't think you can. That's July 4th, buddy." And he's like, "Okay, so what's after that?" I was like, "My birthday in August." And he's like, "Okay, so I won't ask for anything till the beginning of the school year." And I'm like, "There's no way you're making it till fall." He's like, "Okay, 2 months." And then I go to bed that night, and my wife's like, Did he tell you about the deal?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, if we give him $25 and he asks for something within 2 months, we get to smack him upside the head." I was like, "That is not what he discussed with me." I'm just saying, like, so the whole story right there is just to say, like, your 11-year-olds will beg you to buy them shit, and I buy him stuff. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I don't do it all the time. I make him earn it, but you know what? What he wants right now is there's a Naruto skin in Minecraft, like, and he loves Naruto. And you know what? Sometimes he's like, my Rocket League car looks like trash, and all my friends. And then sometimes he wants to gift the battle pass to his friends that their parents won't buy him anything. Too. So I mean, this whole story is just like, your kids will get you to buy these things. Not only will you buy them for yourself because we're suckers, but you will shut your kid up sometimes. Not all parents will, but I mean, I'm one that will. But so free-to-play model does pay off, because look at Fortnite. Jesus, just Fortnite alone with their Halo dude and their Marvel collection and battle passes.
The skins are like what, $20-$30?
It's like ridiculous. I'm so glad my friend just gave us, like, somebody gave her sister gave her 2,000 V-Bucks for Christmas, and she's like, "I don't play Fortnite." I was like, "Oh, I know an 11-year-old who would love those." And she's like, "All right, I'll give them to you." I'm like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." And so they're already gone. Like, I put them on his account and they were gone within a minute. Okay, so free to play with microtransactions is. Ooh, I just read the chat. Sorry. Free to play is just. I'm
on it. Hang on a sec. I'm on it.
It's a good model. So I don't know. I mean, I'd be asking for a refund if Returnal did that to me, but whatever.
Too much. All right, let's go ahead and throw this over to you.
He's not going to finish Returnal anyway, so he's going to go back to Astrobot and mac and cheese.
There you go. There you go. I threw that in there.
Let's throw this over to you, Centurion, and get your quick opinion, man. Just on this transition from these big AAA games, open world-ish games, going free to play.
Oh man, so man, I think Addict really hit the nail on the head. We have seen Epic completely change its course and direction with a game and as a company. I mean, they went free to play with Fortnite. To save the world.
I mean, Epic is so bored right now. They're attacking $1 trillion company. So
dude, that's so awesome. Oh my God. And
but dude, we've literally met everyone been to our knee in the gaming industry. What else can we do?
Well, that's what I like, how we're like, well, they forced PlayStation to do to do crossplay. It was almost like somebody walked in with the briefcase, lifted up the lid, turned it around, and was like, "So I brought this much money today. Did I need to bring another suitcase tomorrow?" Because they pay for crossplay. Apparently, Sony was worried about the loss in revenue from crossplay, that they actually told Epic that they had to basically give them pay for crossplay based on how many people used it. I don't know, but yeah, that's what I love about Epic is they have literally taken a game that nobody really heard about, gave it a free-to-play mode, and completely built an empire off of a free-to-play mode. And I think it's quite funny if you really think about it. I'm actually waiting for the biography remember how, Steve Jobs got his own movie. Everybody gets their movie. I'm waiting for the day we get a movie on Epic creating Fortnite and just how the entire thing changed.
Yeah.
Another game that I want to just kind of say as a free to play is Elder Scrolls Online, because I know you got to pay to be there, but the thing has been on Game Pass forever. And if you really think about it, you could find that game for like $5, $10. Just seeing a game that knows that you put out content every 2 or 3 months, that gives you a reason to keep coming back, even if you're not playing every single day that entire year. It gives you a reason to come back and play a week, a month, whatever, have some fun, and it keeps the game relevant. And that's something that's actually, I feel like has a niche, but I also don't want the whole market to be saturated with free to play games, because let's look at everybody's scared now to tackle these open world games because they don't want to be what's considered a one and done. But let's use an open world game today that still holds weight, and that's Skyrim. I mean, that game is on everything. People still play it to this day, and it's actually quite small compared to certain games nowadays. So I just feel like large open world games do have their place, and I don't want free to play to all of a sudden become this, well, we want people to keep coming back to it.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy dynamic, man. So it's to see the change in the industry. A franchise like a Destiny, man. Like, I never thought it would trend. First of all, they had to get away from Activision. They had to for that to even think about happening. But once that happened, then this became an actual possibility. I think it was a smart move, and I think it is a smart move if you have a strong player base going forward for a lot of devs. Oh, shout out to Lord Saab, man, dropping the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. He said, just showing love to all the fam and Addict. So Addict, Saab just dropped the $5 super chat, man. Shout out to Addict. Shout out to Saab. Appreciate you guys, man. Got the Realm in the house, man. I know hopefully Kyle gets a chance to watch this. David as well. Everybody out there, man. Appreciate you guys showing support and love, man. Appreciate you guys over at the Lords of Gaming, man. So let's get this to you, Fuzz, before we go ahead and wrap up this particular topic, man. Just about it's essentially just about these games transitioning. These games are different now. Like, we're not seeing Destiny's free. Like, that's something I never thought that I would hear together at all.
Well, I didn't even think that we would even hear about Halo's multiplayer being like a free to play as well.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's something that just completely like left field. But given how successful things like Fortnite have been, I mean, it makes total sense. My only fear is the consistency when it comes to things like transmog and shaders and stuff like that. But I'm looking forward to Homeland. As far as for the Division, I would probably prefer a Division 3 over it. But
I was balancing that back and forth.
But if we can get something similar to what Survival was for like the Division 1 or even the Underground, where it was like randomly generated dungeons, basically, I would like to see that kind of return with a lot of the new mechanics and new gear sets that they have. But free to play in general, like Stag had talked about it, and Attic had talked about it earlier, and Pong had talked about it earlier, about the quality being better now, or at least a game like Fortnite has shown that you don't have to have something that's like APD or APB or whatever type of deal, where it's like those style free to play games. But I'm looking forward to it. Just don't want the I guess the Division 1 type loot boxes where it was, oh, you pay for this and you get a skin or like a weapon skin instead of the custom outfit that you wanted or whatever. But I'm fine with this free to play, where I could actually, if I really want to, I can go ahead and buy like the Resident Evil outfit or the Rikers outfit or whatever for my character. But for the most part, it's more about the gear or loot drops and things like that for me in the game itself. But Warzone, Fortnite, they've definitely shown how a free to play can basically keep you engaged, keep you either spending money on season passes or keep you grinding to kind of regain that season pass status or whatever. But yeah, it's an interesting turnaround. I another one to look at, although it's not free to play, but it looks like they're possibly moving there online too. That would be like with Rockstar with Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Online. I think Red Dead Online is now being added as like a Game Pass add-on, so it's one of those things where I guess Rockstar eventually will do like a free to play. Although I would much rather have a Grand Theft Auto 6 instead. Yeah. That's a whole other story.
Well, let me get to these two quick super chats. Shout out to the Lords, man. So Sav, I actually read that wrong, Addict. So he says, sorry I had to do it. LOL, Blim, you read it wrong. So he says, shout out to the fam and Lord Addict. Dang, my boy throwing shots out there. But shout out to you, Sav. Appreciate the love and support. Then Cog, another $5 super chat. He said, I'm watching Addict to make sure he's behaving. Salute to my Lords of Shop. Cog, man, shout out to you guys. Appreciate everyone. Addict, they got the eyeballs on you.
I can't be announcing shit, man. Like, I got chaperones and shit. Like I feel like I'm in a PR team right now. Like,
oh my goodness, man!
I'm gonna just say something, and my mic's gonna cut off. Like,
oh my goodness!
If we hear your phone ring, then we know there's a problem.
You hear him in the middle of saying something, all of a sudden you start hearing and you're, oh, what is going on?
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the Lords, man, hanging out, showing love and support. You guys are always hanging out with us, man. But let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, man. We're having so much fun here at the shop, man. So this is the elephant in the room, you know, and I don't know how many people, we talk about this all the time on Twitter, but I don't really know if anybody's actually tackled this topic in particular. We're going to talk about some bug broken games, and the reality of this situation. So I'm going to give my quick opinion, and we're going to get right to you at it. I've always been of the mind that even though the hardware gets better as time goes on, we ask more out of these developers more than any time in history, because they have access to this technology that we ask for bigger worlds. Okay, we got a bigger world. Can we do more in the world? Okay, I want to do this. I want to do this as well. So we ask these things of developers, and they're always pushing the envelope. So I don't know if that's. I think as that happens, I think those two things coincide. Like games coming out broken, games being rushed, games having issues, you know, when they're launched, you know, directly coincide with the difficulty of making games. On top of, let's be honest, the last 15 months have been extremely tough. So anything that was supposed to come out in that time frame, probably it wasn't, you know, going to be the highest quality it possibly could be. But with that in mind, Addict, let's go ahead and just get your quick opinion on just the reality of games coming out. People say, you know, why would they release a game broken and bugged? But I don't really think we're going to ever not see that happen.
I think the issue is the consistency of seeing broken games. We used to only see it from like Bethesda, and the issue that Bethesda had is like, sure, their games were buggy up until 76. That was unacceptable. But before 76, their games were buggy, but the fun factor outweighed the annoyance by far.
Yeah.
It's just in a lot of, you know, there were game breaking bugs in previous Bethesda games, but they were far in between. It was mainly like clipping and like falling down stuff. But, you know, then we got games like Returnal that it's got bugs, but their game, like, it turned little bugs into game breaking bugs because everything resets you back to the beginning. So
yeah,
it's a game breaking bug. Normally, if you have like checkpoints, save points, you crash, you just go back to the last checkpoint, go back to the last save point. Might have lost 10, maybe 15 minutes of gameplay, depending on what you're doing. But, you know, for the most part, you were fine. But now you can do something like this, and you could lose hours. And that made every little bug into a game-breaking bug.
Yeah, that's insane. So, I mean, we've seen Outriders and suffer in the same situation with losing all your inventory. I know they're working on that still. And they seem to have, you know, kind of pushed out patches and things like that, but they're suffering the same situation. But I've always stuck to my guns regarding the more we ask for these game developers, the more they're going to push. They're always going to push the hardware. We assume they're always going to push the hardware to a extent, but you know, we're always going to ask for more. We're going to ask to be able to play in bigger worlds, have more characters, do more things on screen. You know, be able to have all these great graphics and cool effects and all these different things. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you. We'll start with you on this one, Fuzz. Get your quick opinion on just the reality of games coming out broken. You ever see that tapering off, or is this just where we're at?
I would hope after Cyberpunk and the backlash that it received that you'd see it taper off. And I think it kind of has, in the sense that you hear a lot more game delay announcements. Like before, everybody was tight-lipped about, oh, well, we're still on track to come out this month, or oh, it's only pushed back 30 days. And now you're seeing a lot of these games where it's like, oh, no, we need to push it back 6 months or even further. So I guess that's a positive in some regards. So that way they're starting to recognize that if you don't take the extra time to make sure it works right out the gate, that you stand a good chance of being either one, booted from a store, or two, just having this everlasting like scarlet letter on you that you're never going to be able to live down type of deal, where the reviews or the sales are just, they're going to tank basically. But I think part of it, like you said, part of the blame is us asking more of the devs. Hey, we want a flying mechanic in the game that didn't have a flying mechanic in the previous game. Or we want to be able to, have all these extra abilities or these extra move sets and things like that. And devs are always trying to push the envelope, but especially with the hardware being what it is in comparison to last generation. But I don't know. I have very short patience on broken games, in the sense I remember Drive Club from when that was was supposed to be a launch title, and then there was the whole No Man's Sky, but luckily they did turn that around. But now you got things like Outriders, where it seemed like something wasn't broken at the time, and they decided to kind of mess around with like the loot drops, and that seemed to wipe people's inventory, and then it's just been a spiral ever since. And Division and Destiny have kind of had similar things, although they weren't as game breaking. It was just more so that, okay, well, you have a loot cave, or you wind up having it where, well, the loot drops aren't to the norm, and then they have to go ahead and do like patch 1.4 what they did on Division 1 type of deal. But it's just, I don't know. I think right now the devs themselves need to either lean more on QA, or the publishers that are pushing that or forcing them to push this game out earlier than later need to take a look at the big picture as far as how it may hurt sales, how it may hurt reputations of the dev team or the publisher in general. So when they go to make the next game, people might, be a little gun shy to make that purchase. So it's not that we're not going to not buy games type of thing, but I think they've kind of heard the calling after the Cyberpunk issues, as far as with the media and everything like that, and the fans on numerous forums and blogs and stuff talking about, how upsetting it was. So I think they're starting to get the message, but like with Returnal, that's a weird one, because they have it now where it's like, oh, the only real pause that you have or save that you have is just put it in like pause mode, and then you wind up having an update on the game while it's in sleep mode, and that just wipes it as well. So it's like, okay, well, if you're going to release a patch, possibly let people know, hey, if you have it in sleep mode, you may not want to do auto update or something like that. But yeah, it's just it's something that the devs need to pay attention to.
Well, let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Stag. Just good to get your quick opinion, man. I don't know how much you're gonna even want to say, talk about this, but
I don't have a lot to say, but I do want to say a couple quick things. Devs, publishers need to normalize not overcommitting and not overpromising. Consumers need to normalize keeping their expectations a little bit lower, not getting overhyped, and calling a spade. When a game's fucking glitchy and a game's fucking up at release, post-launch, keep the same energy. Be upset about it. Don't be like, oh, it's okay for this game to do it, but not that game. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, the consumer, like devs and publishers are, I mean, it's like it's a symbiotic relationship of give and take and push and pull from both sides, to be honest with you, because the devs and pubs want to make money back. Consumers are pushing for new titles, even though we all have got crazy ass backlogs, except for those guys that play nothing but COD. Besides the point, but no, I think it's just, I mean, definitely.
I envy them people. I really do. Like
I don't. I mean, I do and I don't.
can't
Because
play.
God damn, isn't it boring after a while? Like you just shoot people over
Apparently,
and over
it's
again.
never not boring, and I'd love to have that kind of lifestyle. It's never not boring. Like
that was
like
me
those
back
guys
in the
playing
360
Apex look
days.
really,
I
really
play
happy.
Apex for 45 minutes. And I'm like, let's find something else. And these days, I
you know,
can't
you're
play
right.
Destiny
Watching
for more
I
than
do
30
watch a few
minutes.
people that stream it, and they definitely they seem like they're enjoying themselves. I just can't do it anymore. But because I used to play a lot of Gears multiplayer and Halo multiplayer, but yeah, I just, man, I really feel like, especially with Cyberpunk, and you know, and Returnal has a lot of issues as well that we all know about. And I mean, Outriders, a lot of you already touched upon this, but they got it. I mean, fuck Anthem, like we had to bring it up. But like these devs and these publishers need to stop rushing the product. You know, I mean, at some point the returns aren't going to be there if you keep doing this. I mean, unless you're Bethesda, of course, because you could screw up every game and keep making money apparently. But yeah, and I also and I think it's partially on consumers because we're so impatient that we push these, that not only are the devs pushing for profits, but we're pushing like on Twitter, on forums, on Reddit, and all this stuff to give us these games and give us all these things and give, and like, why don't you just wait and go play some Destiny or go fucking race a car or play the new Madden roster up. I don't know. There's so many things out there. Go jump into an RPG or an indie game you've never played. Like, just be patient, I guess. I mean, and that goes for everybody. That goes, like I said, all three factors there. And be patient. Make sure a product's right. And you know, consumers stop paying continually for shit that ain't right. But also, we don't know out of the box, you know what I mean, until we actually fire it up. But I mean, we do have some habitual offenders. So
I've always had the mindset that, look, if you, because I'm not going to tell someone to not pre-order something. Like,
no, of course not.
We're
Especially for that extra
consumers.
skin.
We should be able to buy something without fear of not working. This is like the only industry this shit happens in. So, but I'm always a huge person. It's like, look, like, if you buy something and it ain't working, go straight to those Twitter streets, go straight to those Facebook streets, tag everyone you could think of that's involved in that project.
You should definitely complain that it's not working.
And you know, obviously do it respectful. Don't come like don't threaten to like shoot them up or something like that, because that's a little absurd over a video game. But like,
I want to burn their house down.
Because I've noticed that, you know, people was like, oh, speak with your wallets. I don't think we're in the time where speaking with your wallet is a logical thing anymore. Like, I've seen more huge pushings on Twitter get to these companies way quicker than I've seen get to their wallets these days. Like, look what happened with the Battlefront.
Your wallets doesn't work because we're all paying for DLC and season passes. All right.
Look what happened with the Battlefront 2. Like, they tried that slide.
Oh yeah, that got reversed quick.
And that was before the game came out, so it definitely wasn't about the wallet. Because clearly they knew they could still put the game out and make a lot of money anyway. Yeah. But they saw the backlash, and they were scared that backlash would result in them losing money in the long run.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So a lot of different things have happened, man. So let's go ahead and keep this thing going. Want to make sure I got the Centurion. Make sure I
got. I haven't gotten them.
Go ahead, bro.
How could I really add on? It's, man, bugs are a huge problem. I really like how Attic pointed out, you know, things back in the day, as long as it wasn't anything too serious or groundbreaking. Some of the bugs we even made fun of, you know, there's some really great montages on YouTube of game bugs, but now it's get to the point of inventory wipes and saves not working right and game crashes, wiping out saves. It's very interesting right now. If the only thing I could add on to this whole situation is, I think more developers, if they're very questionable on like how their product is going to react, especially with, you know, technology today constantly changing and these newer consoles. At least on the Xbox side, take advantage of the game preview program. You know, maybe put this game out there in the ecosystem, small scale, see how it does, let it function for a few days, and just kind of go from there. I feel like there should be a little bit more. Gosh, I know that they test these games, but I know a lot of the testing is done internally, and I guess they should at this point start having some kind of a program where they can have these games tested on a little bit larger scale, because it's one thing to ask for, you know, better lighting effects or better resolution or more trees, more players, something like, but at least have the fundamentals of what runs the game having work right. Like, I mean, obviously your saves, your inventory, something like that needs to work right. Otherwise, you're going to completely break the player experience. I mean, yeah, I guess I was ready to go for Outriders, and I'm a little disappointed that now I feel like the ship has sailed a little bit on a few friends that would play the game with me just because they didn't want to deal with the memory wipe stuff.
I'll play with you. I never had any problems.
See that? Yeah,
I gotta go back and check and see if my stuff's back.
I mean, other than like it dashboarding, I mean, which other games have done that too? I was one of the lucky few that got through Outriders unscathed.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and was that it, Centurion?
Right. I'm not. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. We're gonna wrap this up with Pong, man. Just where you at with this Pong Buggy games, and just, you know, this is something. Is this just going to continue? Is this just where we're at this point, or you see this tapering off at all?
Well, this is a big deal. Because it's multifaceted, right? So it comes, you know, we, like everybody's kind of talked about it. It's partially us because, you know, I don't want to say us because, well, it is. You know, again, again, it's tough because it's not the consumer's fault. Like any product that comes out, it doesn't matter whether it's a video game, doesn't matter whether it's a TV, it doesn't matter whether it's a chair, your office chair, should not come out with problems when you pay money for you know, whatever it is, right? That you should have, there should be a certain expectation that it's going to work and function as advertised. And I think that with gaming, yes, when you're talking about complex programming and things like online systems and multiplayer, which you don't know a lot of the time, no matter how much testing you do internally, what's going to happen when you have, you know, 5 million people jump online at one time, right? There's just no way to see those bugs coming until it actually hits. And those ones are forgivable. Now, I'm a very forgivable guy, right?
I am too.
I've been playing for 40 plus years. One of my birthday gifts when I was a kid was Atari ET, okay? A completely broken game. So you know, games have been broken, you know, throughout history. I guess as we get more complicated with games and as we came online, I guess my biggest problem is that we've seen developers rely on patches. Okay. And again, patches are great. They're a double-edged sword because games back in the day didn't get fixed. If they were broken, too bad. They were broken. That was it. They were done. And you had to wait for word of mouth or until a magazine told you 2 months later, and hopefully you didn't buy it in the meantime. Right. So the deal is here now we have the ability to fix these games, but the developers have been using it as a crutch for quite some time. Now I'm back. I told you guys, I'm back to playing probably what people consider to be one of the biggest offenders. I personally don't, but anyway, Cyberpunk is the biggest offender because of how they handled it, because of how they were sneaky about everything, which was complete bullshit, how they hid the problems with the older gen game versus what it was playing like on next gen and on PC. That's completely wrong. That's a complete flat out lie. But again, people still, say that, they were having issues and bugs. Yeah, there are bugs in this game in Cyberpunk, but at the same time, again, I'm forgiving. I don't care. It's a gigantic open world with complex AI systems and all this kind of stuff. And I expect them to have some kind of bugs in there just because that's the way the games are made nowadays. You can't see everything. However, to Fuzzy's point, I think we have to reach. I think the consumers have to continue to speak out, like Addict said, and you have to get vocal about this stuff, because I think, to Fuzzy's point, the developers need to take a larger portion of their money and put it into QA. I think as the games get more complex and as they do all this stuff, I think then it's only
I thought
right.
that was a normal part of the game development process anyway.
It is, but it seems what I was just going to say, PTK, is that it seems as if as the games have gotten more complex, they have not upped the QA along with it, right?
It feels like the longer the development cycle is,
yes,
the less they give QA.
Correct.
It's like, okay, like we need to cut something because we need to get this game out by next holiday. All right. We usually need 8 months QA. You could do that in 3, right? Like,
right, exactly.
And we've all heard stories from testers during the QA process where they would bring up issues and the developers would try to not acknowledge the issue that they were trying to point out.
Yep, exactly. And if it's on the publisher's end that they're pushing these deadlines too quickly, then that's another problem that we have to go back and the devs have to start addressing it, and the publishers need to take a step back, and hopefully with examples like Cyberpunk and what we just saw happen to Outriders, because again, Outriders had everything going for it. It became the game. There was a point where 75% of the people in my friends list were playing Outriders.
Mine too.
It was huge. They came out of nowhere, crushed it with putting it into Game Pass. It was the darling. Everybody was loving that game. And then all of a sudden it fell apart. If the bugs weren't there, and again, to me, the online stuff and the problems they had, connections, again, you can't prepare for all of that, but they could have thought about this in advance. And the peer-to-peer stuff is archaic, and I don't know why they choose to do that, because it's cheap. I mean, I guess I do know why they choose to do it, because it's cheaper than it is to have dedicated servers. But the problem being is you had a game that could have been really still flying high right now and been a gigantic hit continuously. But what they did was they messed with it. They didn't have the QA proper. They messed up with the online stuff, and now you've seen it fall off a cliff. Now I hardly see anybody playing it. We got Cog out here on social media talking about running around in his underwear. Shout out to Cog. so when you get that kind of bad press, right, that's going to wipe out the game. We saw it with Cyberpunk. Yeah, they sold 13.7 million copies, but how many more millions of copies would they have sold had they not gotten the press it did? I can guarantee you their internal numbers were probably 20 million plus. I can guarantee you that's what they were shooting for, right? So it's still profitable, but how much profit? Right.
All the overtime and stuff they probably now dished out trying to fix it.
Exactly. On top of the stock prices crashing and everything else. So big examples like those, hopefully we're going to see the publishers realizing, and like you were speaking to PTK, we've seen more delays, and a lot of that's going to be due to COVID, but maybe there is some in there that actually looked at Cyberpunk and said, ooh, we don't want to come out right now in a bad spot at all, right? Because we're going to have the spotlight on us in a heartbeat. And so I think maybe there is some of that at this point in the industry. Like I said, I'm a forgiving person. Skyrim had all of its issues. Oblivion, and get all the Bethesda titles. I'm a big, gigantic Bethesda fan, so I get it. Bugs are bugs. Some of them are funny. I don't mind them. I don't mind the ones that are in Cyberpunk that I've experienced, which are there. But at the same time, the unforgivable ones, having a game broken, deleting inventories, that kind of stuff, we can't have that happen. Because again, not just from a consumer needs to speak out, and there should be I think we need to look at the refund policies too. Because again, now we see more examples of Sony denying people who want to get their money back for Returnal. If a game comes out and it doesn't function as advertised, just like any other product, you should have 100% right to return that. And I understand there's differences with video games and there has to be limitations, but if somebody's telling you within the first 5 days, 7 days that they want to return the game because it's broken and there's a list, it's out there, it's proven, that's it. that you should be able to return the dang game.
Hey,
period.
Pong.
Yeah.
The United States is actually one of the few countries in the world that actually do not have consumer protection
Correct.
put in place for software.
Right, for software. Yeah. That's a big issue, and that needs to be fixed too. Again, I understand that it's complex when it comes to video games because people will just grind it and beat it, and doesn't matter where they have problems. But when there's certifiable issues and the product does not perform the way that it was advertised, you should have a right to give it back no matter what and get your money back. So it's a big problem. It's unacceptable in a lot of ways. Again, smaller bugs. I'm glad that we have patches now that can be fixed, but games that are eternally broken or games that come out and just flat out have game breaking bugs in them, that is unacceptable. And I think QA needs to have their budgets increased, and I think these companies need to start taking that more seriously.
I feel like it's going to be a little harder for first party stuff because obviously they're not going to want to shut down their own stuff. But
right.
I feel like if a game comes out and is busted, and I'm not talking like a couple bugs, I'm talking about like it crashes all the time.
Exactly.
Like
can't get online.
These store manufacturers, they just need to pull that shit naturally. Oh, okay, it's out of there. Because I feel like after one or two good games that happen consistently to, the rest of the developers and publishers going to look at each other. Well, it's mainly publishers. They're going to look at each other like, oh, they ain't playing. Oh, they got him up out of there.
Right.
Like, okay, we're delaying the game 6 months. Give it to QA.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so it's something that is very complex, and I think that's the crux of the matter. Is that it's a very, very complex issue. It affects a lot of different people, a lot of different parties involved. But hopefully, we see some semblance of it tapering off and/or maybe better just solutions. Maybe not, because I think it'll always be there as long as there's hardware, as long as we keep just not same standards, but as long as the standards continue to move or go up or elevate. Every generation. So other than that, man, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. That was the last topic here. So once again, we're going to go ahead and round the panel real quick. I do want to say everybody that was watching live, everybody in the chat, I do greatly appreciate you guys, man. We had another awesome show. Time flew by once again. I appreciate you guys. The energy in the chat was great today. Shout out to the Lords for coming out, dropping a couple super chats on us. Appreciate you, Saab. Appreciate you, Kyle. You guys always are fam here, man. Come showing your boy Addict support. We appreciate you guys, man. But speaking of Addict, great segue, man. Glad to have you here today. I know things weren't ideal, as far as your situation, but you made it, man. Once again, your family, we support you guys over there at IOP. You guys are like beacons in the community for a lot of us content creators, and a lot of us look up to you guys over there. So keep doing what you're doing. Everything that's happening to you guys is supposed to happen, bro. But let everybody know where they can find you at, man.
You can find me on Twitter, Lord Addict IOP. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Gaming Addict. You can find me every Sunday at 1 p.m. For the Iron Lords podcast. It's on the IOP channel, the Iron Lords podcast channel. We're actually having Chase Money on tomorrow,
nice.
So definitely come and check that out. It's going to be interesting. I would consider Chase Money like kind of on the comedy side. He makes a lot of comedy videos, and we ain't never really had someone on the podcast in that realm.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see his perspective on stuff because he's not on like podcast weekly like that. And stuff like this. You don't really get a whole lot of feedback.
That'll be dope. Shout out to Chase Money as well.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate the invite. It was a nice little conversation.
I appreciate you, man. Once again, IOP, you guys are awesome. Everything you guys doing over there, man. Nothing but love and support. The community loves you guys. Community supports you guys, and so appreciate you hanging out, Addict, once again, man. So let me get to my crew here, man. Stag, glad to see you this week, man. It's been an awesome show. Once again, let everybody know, what you got cooking up. Obviously, the streaming and everything going on with you.
I got my days mixed up, man. I thought it was Sunday. My bad. Man, you're gonna have to change the link in the description because I changed my stream channel name.
Oh, okay.
So now I took on the everyone's like, oh my god, another rebrand, and I'm like, no, I changed the name to the community name, which is the Bleep Bloop and Nerd Herd. So that's the channel name. I'm still Stagger, but that's not where you'll find me on Staggerilla anymore. I recently left 2 stream teams and I changed my schedule, so I felt like it was a good time to switch directions a little bit. So I did that. Yeah, you can find me on twitch.tv/bleepin nerd herd. It's kind of a mouthful. And still the same place on Twitter, Staggerilla. Yeah, here on Saturdays when I don't have a migraine or get my 5G update or whatever. It was great to have Addict here and talk about the stuff and the things and everybody in chat. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next Saturday.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Stag. Once again, I gotta update that link in the chat, guys. But please go support Stag, man. He's a fantastic streamer, always doing a bunch of things for the community, for charity, just for everybody but himself.
Oh yeah. On top of that, I actually am streaming all month for St. Jude's. So, if you guys can, like, donate some money to St. Jude's because they do great work. For kids while they're in the hospital, they cover all the expenses for parents and activities and stuff while their kids are fighting their whatever's conditions they have. So it's an amazing charity. So, all right, sorry to interrupt there.
No, you're good, man. That's something that we definitely need to highlight. So once again, stop through the stream. He always does it for never for himself, always for someone else, and always for a bigger cause. So shout out to you, Stag, man. Appreciate you, bro, being here this week, man. Glad you're feeling better as well. So let's go ahead and throw this over to Pong, man. Mr. 7 shows a week, man. You just got you Oprah Winfrey of the podcast now. You everywhere, but it's all, once again, as talented as you are, brother, and everybody, your energy, we just greatly appreciate you being here. But let everybody know what you got cooking up, man. Shout out to Brap in the chat too. What's up, bro?
Yeah, it was a slow week this week, so I got to relax a little bit, although work was heavy. So it is what it is. It all comes back around. But no, this was fantastic. Again, another great Saturday night. Addict, thank you so much for being here, man. It was great to do a show with you. Appreciate everything that you do and what everybody over at the Iron Lords obviously respect nothing but for all of you guys. So it was great to finally be here. But Saturday nights are always fun. Obviously Centurion, Stag, great to have you back, man. And Fuzzy as well. Great to see you guys and to talk with you guys, because this is the best part of the week when I get to end Saturday night this way. Otherwise, you can find me Pong Soul everywhere. And then on Tuesdays, I am on the Xbox Factor podcast with Mr. Boomstick and Zemi Games. That is 12 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Central Time. Friday nights, I am on Xbox Ultimate with Fun Speculation, aka Mav, and his wife Caitlin, and the rest of the Magnificent Seven. That starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 o'clock Central Time. And then Saturday mornings, Living Split Screen, Steel Rain, and myself. We just wrapped up episode 7. Man, we are just loving Saturday mornings. Community is just continuously showing up out there. So it was great to see everybody again this morning. Come check us out again. That's Living Split Screen. Split Screen being all one word. We just have a really fantastic time. We never know where the conversations are going to go. We have a loose plan for each show. And, past couple weeks, Steel and I have both been busy, so we really haven't been able to talk during the week. So we've been coming in the Saturday morning just winging it, and it's been completely organic, and it's just been great fun, man. We just have a really good time, both of us high energy. Obviously, even on a Saturday morning, that starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. UK time. So come check us out at Living Split Screen. We'll think you'll like it. It's a casual show. We talk about the entire industry. But otherwise, thanks again, PTK. Man, it's just fantastic that you invited me on and gave me the opportunity, and love being here each and every week. So thanks a lot.
No problem, man. Appreciate you as well, man. You moving and shaking. You got a lot going on. You're a busy man, but everything, once again, that good energy that you just exude, man, everything's happening to you for a reason. You're just a magnet, bro, for just good things. So keep doing what you're doing. Shout out to Steel Rain as well. Awesome dude, man. Just awesome show. Go check out Living Split Screen, guys. So still this over to you, Centurion. Appreciate you hanging out, man. I know your ass is always busy. You work 60 hours a damn week, but you always make it here on Saturday. So, man, let everybody know what you got cooking up.
Well, man, when you say it like that, at first I was going to be like, hey, I'm Centurion. I can't compete with Pong. He's everywhere. Everybody loves him. No. Oh, man. Dude, being able to be here every Saturday night, I look forward to it. I'm married. I love my wife dearly, but honestly, she doesn't get into gaming like I do. And any chance I get around to hang out with a really great group of guys that are like family to me, and to chat games and have the community here. I mean, what more could you want? I mean, dude, whatever, just call me cheesy. I may not be getting paid to be here, but I'm still living the dream. I mean, this is absolutely awesome to be here. So, dude, if anybody who wants to join me and actually see my content, you can find me at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Xbox Live, and Twitter. Right here every Saturday night with these awesome gentlemen right here on the Shop Podcast. And you can also find me over on the TXR Podcast every Sunday night. And yeah, man, how about this? Has anybody checked out Second Extinction, or am I the only one playing that right now?
Oh, no, I played a bunch of it.
Dude, I'm loving that game. I need to find more time to play it, but definitely I played a round. I did the tutorial and I did the first mission with a friend, and literally we had a random with us, and dude bailed out like within the match starting. I don't know, maybe we aggravated him. So me and my buddy basically two-manned the first mission.
Oh, wow.
All right, well, let's go ahead and throw this over to Fuzz so we can go ahead and get this thing wrapped up, and then
Man, awesome being on here with you guys as always. Always look forward to, talking shop with you guys as far as gaming, our favorite hobby and stuff. But man, awesome having Attic on here. Awesome, just chilling this Saturday evening. But if you're looking to see what I talk about on gaming and other things, you can always find me on Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere. Or on PSN at @fuzzy_Belvedere, or Xbox Live at @fuzzy_Belvedere. Like I said, normally playing Forza or Division. So
all right, man. Shout out to you, Fuzz, man. Appreciate you. Attic had to dip out a little bit early, guys, but once again, we're pretty much at the end of the show here. So last but not least, your boy PTK Blam. Hit me everywhere, mainly on Twitter. That's where you're gonna find most updates about the show, about the channel, about things we got going on. But appreciate you guys for coming out, man. Next week, same place, same time. Appreciate you guys so much. Love you all. See you guys next week, man. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Peace out, everyone.